You're not overpaying where you think you're overpaying for the wrong thing. We tested 15 national grocery chains coast to coast, and the premium name you trust scored worse than a discount store you probably avoid.
Stocking up on groceries, especially around days when families gather like today. 10 News consumer reporter John Horn shows us how increasingly some stores are making that a challenge.
Christy Neal says it happens to her, especially when her kids see the sugary treats at the checkout line.
More characters, more colors, sounds, lights, put the toys up front.
Ever come out of a place like that and realized you've spent way too much? It's because the grocery stores know how to get you to shell out that extra cash. But you can be armed with ways to keep yourself from overspending the next time you go grocery shopping.
Stay with me. We'll show you how the cheapest cart can cost you a second trip, limp produce, and a week of regret dinners. By the end, you'll know which store actually saves you money, time, and sanity, and which one looks fancy but quietly empties your wallet. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video.
Exactly according to plan. Nutritionist Laura Nemes says grocers do a lot to get more of your money beyond putting candy at the front. Placement matters. Pre-sliced cheese in the milk section can be half the price of freshly cut cheese at the deli counter. And there's a reason all those variations of Oreos and Cheerios dominate the actual aisles. Take the large displays on the end of every aisle.
Look, not always are they good buys, but it's placed there to entice you to purchase.
If the receipt is lower, why does the week still feel more expensive? You're not crazy. That nagging something's off has a name. Let's start with the value paradox. Save-A-Lot's prices land hard, but the bill you pay shows up later, in time, in quality, in a second stop you didn't plan.
With the higher cost to buy groceries amid record inflation as our country teeters on a possible recession. Many of you watching from home right now might be struggling as putting dinner on the table becomes more expensive.
I know that with the way inflation is right now, it may seem impossible to eat healthy on a budget, but I'm going to show you some tips on how to do that with your next grocery.
Tonight, Gordon Severson shows you ways to save money at the grocery store as food prices continue to soar.
According to the latest consumer price index, the cost of fruits and veggies actually went down last month, while almost everything else went up. Meat has seen some of the highest increases over the past year. Hy-Vee dietitian Melissa Yeager says you can use less meat by blending in cheaper alternatives.
The store is stripped down on purpose. That keeps tags low and your guard up. The trade-off begins the second you try to shop like a normal week. You walk in with a basic list: lettuce, bananas, chicken, ground beef, eggs, milk, pasta, sauce, rice, beans, cereal, coffee, bread. You can fill chunks of it. Then the gaps kick in. The pasta sauce is a house brand with a sugar blast you didn't see coming. The cereal you trust isn't there. The chicken pack date gives you 2 safe days, not 5. Now your plan slides. Quick run through. You grab a bag of lettuce that looks tired, toss a jar of the house sauce in the cart, and stall to decode labels you've never seen. Those labels hide odd salt levels, smaller net weights, and vague origin lines. You saved $3 at checkout. You pay it back with 15 minutes of aisle math and a detour later in the week.
And as for candy at the front, Nemes says there are much better buys waiting for you in the actual candy aisle, far back from the checkout line. It's harder to spot the smaller, more affordable brands.
The more shelf space they have, the more the consumers will see their products, which leads to more purchase.
The Senator examined supermarket pricing, calling on his experience working for suppliers dealing with the big grocers. They'll have their say.
Research on limited assortments says they cut choice time, but here's the kicker. They also spark what experts call assortment frustration. You swap brands, you regret it at dinner, and you end up making repeat microtrips. That's not convenience. That's drift. The aisles don't help. Harsh lights, stacks like a warehouse, a produce table that feels like it missed the truck. Price is low. Confidence is lower. Do a mini audit. Add gas for the second store. Add 10 minutes to park, walk, pay again. Add food waste when the bananas bruise by day 2 and the lettuce wilts by midweek. Cheap can turn into a trash fee. Real value is one trip, food that lasts the week, and a few key brands that anchor meals. Now let's move on to the other extreme of discount, smart, and final bulk that looks efficient but quietly breaks small household math. What if the bargain only works if you buy like a restaurant?
Marketing and pricing professor Mark Bergen says meat prices are actually holding steady right now. They're still relatively high overall, but other food groups are seeing even bigger increases right now. Yeager also recommends creating a plan before you go shopping.
I do find that oftentimes if we go in with a plan, we're less likely to grab additional things that maybe we didn't need for that week. So again, you can be strategic about how much you want and when you.
Dairy, flour, bakery, sweets, those have actually jumped some of the most.
Some baked goods went up by as much as 5.5% last month. Bergen says you can save by buying other grains like rye. And right now, your freezer is your friend. You can find some produce that is in season, really cheap, freeze it for the fall and the winter.
That's the smart and final problem. You walk in for a shop and the store can't decide what it is. Not a full supermarket with broad choice. Not a true club with deep perks. It lives in grocery limbo, where the aisle counts are big, but the everyday wins are thin. You want one banana, not a crate. Bulk tags flash a lower unit price, but the fine print lands at home. Storage space, spoilage risk, and the slow grind of repeating the same meals so nothing goes bad. By Wednesday, you're staring at the same tub of salsa, the same 5-pound bag of carrots, and your appetite taps out first. Let's start with the produce gap. Greens look tired. Variety is narrow. The vibe leans roadside stand on a bad day, serviceable apples, questionable lettuce, not much else. That undercuts any plan to build a week of balance plates because you can't buy what isn't there, and what is there won't last long. Run the numbers. A giant clamshell of spinach might be cents cheaper per ounce, but if half turns to slime by Friday, your cost per edible bite just went up. Multiply that by berries, herbs, and bagged salad, and the deal charges a waste fee. Small homes pay another tax, time. You portion, wrap, label, freeze, then thaw and hope the texture holds. That's labor you don't count at the shelf. Shoppers over-index on unit price and underweight spoilage risk and prep time. Think of it as a freezer and time tax. You pay in electricity, in lost Saturday minutes, and in meals you don't want. Tech doesn't bail you out. You get basic checkout. No strong loyalty app, no scan and go, no real-time saver to shave minutes off the run. For a 1 to 3 person home, bulk looks like value, then eats your week. So what is the takeaway? If the cheapest receipt and the biggest pack both fail, who actually delivers real value? Let's talk about the chain that wins the whole week, not just the register. Real value is simple. One stop, food that holds, prices that still make sense on Friday. You don't need gold-plated aisles. You need eggs that last, greens that don't wilt, and staple brands that don't wreck a recipe. That is the win you feel in your week, not just at the register. If this gave you something to chew on, like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets. Tell us where you actually get value, not just cheap, in the comments. We'll put the top chains head-to-head next and show who earns your cart when the week gets real.